Well, good morning, NorthBridge. It's a joy to be here with you this morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day weekend to you. This Sunday, we're going to get deeper into the series, Deeper and Wider, which is awesome. So we can't wait to join in with you as we learn more about how to increase our depth and our relationship with Jesus and also the width of our impact. So won't you stand up, say hello to somebody as we get ready to worship together.
Jesus, all I want is you.
said, it's just a joy to be here with you this morning. And listen, it's simple, right? The path has been set. The price has been paid. And all we got to do is just get out of our own way and surrender ourselves to him so he can have all of us. Let's sing together. Tell me what surrender really looks like, and show me what it means to trust your heart. If I'm waiting for the perfect moment, then there's never been a better time to start, so you can have it all. Back from you is so ironic. You made me so, you know, when I pretend. Your faithfulness resolves my indecision. So I choose to yield myself over again, and I'll do it every chance that I to trust in your heart, and that is the invitation. So I'm letting go now. I know that I won't regret it. I'm laying it down, and it's all on the altar waiting. Your heart, and that is the invitation. So I'm letting go now. I know that I won't regret it. I'm laying it down. It's all on the altar waiting, and you can have it. This morning we have such an awesome opportunity to witness a continued call to worship. In just a couple of seconds, we're going to hear about Shelly's testimony as she prepares to be baptized. And so won't you just sit down, turn your attention to the side screens as we celebrate this incredible moment of life transformation and obedience.
Hi, my name is Shelly, and this is my story. I grew up and I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school up until graduating high school. I believed in God. I went to church, but I didn't like going to church. I thought it was boring and I thought it should be more than what I was experiencing. And then in my 20s, I got away from that. I was hanging out with people that weren't into God and had different beliefs. I started questioning everything. I got away from God. I was making unhealthy decisions. It was the most unhealthy time of my life, and also the time that I declared that I didn't believe there was even a God. Later on in my 30s, I was having really bad anxiety. I moved to a new area and I was feeling really nervous, not having my home ground. So one day I heard God say to me, find a church. And then I had a friend sharing on Facebook, Ree, and she invited people to her church, which is NorthBridge. And when we came, it was baptism day. And watching that inspired me so much. I knew I wanted to get baptized. I didn't know when I wanted to, and I prayed about it and prayed about it. And then one service when we were here, me and my husband were praying together. I closed my eyes and I saw Jesus' face. It was unbelievable. I had to keep blinking and checking. Did I really see that? Was that real? Was it on the screen? But I know that I saw his face, and that was my sign to get baptized. Now that I put my faith back in Jesus, I talk to him every day. I ask him to hold my hand through the hard stuff and really guide me. I try to envision him with me a lot, and that really helps me to know he's there. And he has answered so many prayers in my life. I like to keep a journal sometimes of what prayers have been answered, and it's so many. It seems unbelievable at times, but he's been there so much for me, and I'm so grateful. When I was pregnant, I had lots of scares with my sonograms. So my old self would have worried my head off, and every time I heard something, I gave it to God, and I always told myself I had a healthy baby in me, and I had the birth of a healthy child. She is perfectly normal, and I owe it all to my faith in Jesus. My faith today wouldn't be what it is without the help of so many people. I really want to thank my mom in heaven for starting my journey. I also want to thank my dad, who continues to be a great example of living the way the Lord wants us to live. I want to thank my husband, Ryan, for joining this Jesus journey with me. And it's one of my greatest joys being able to pray with him and worship with him every week. I'm so thankful for Wambaland. Our kids get to learn about Jesus on their level, while me and my husband get some time alone to connect and really talk to God together and learn some great stuff from the messages here. I attended Starting Point here to learn more about Jesus. It was a great small group, so I felt comfortable to ask questions and really dive into what Jesus is about and how to be more like him. My name is Shelly. I'm here today to get baptized, to publicly declare that I'm a follower of Jesus.
Let's give it up for Shelly. Come on. Shelly, we are so excited to celebrate with you today as you went public with your story and you shared your faith in Jesus. And, it wasn't lost on you. We were talking earlier that today is March 16th. If you haven't connected the dots yet on that, it is 3:16. And you had just mentioned that's one of the most famous verses in the New Testament, if not all of Scripture. If you're not familiar with it, the Apostle John tells us that for God so loved the world that he sent his only son Jesus, that whoever would have faith and trust in him will not perish, but have eternal life. And that's what we're celebrating today. So in light of that passage, let me just ask you once again in front of your church family and your family and friends today, who do you place your faith and trust in? Jesus. And it's in light of that profession that I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. That's what it's all about. Life change through Jesus. That's what we're here every Sunday to worship and give thanks for. That's what we're here to celebrate as people take that step. And I know for many of you, you might be visiting today, your friends, family members of Shelley. Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe it's your very first Sunday here. You just decided to spend this Sunday morning with us. We're glad you're here as well. And you might be like, what was that just all about? I've heard about it. Why do Christians, followers of Jesus, do that? And so let me explain it to you real quick. What baptism is it's a public declaration, an outward demonstration of faith. And that's what Shelley just did. And it's reflecting an inward transformation that's happened for all followers of Jesus. And today, Shelley specifically, when she put her faith and trust in Jesus. And so what we're showing is that in and through Jesus, we all have a past. But our past is firmly in the past now. And we have new life in Jesus because of the life he lived, the life that he laid down for the forgiveness of our sins, and the hope of resurrection that he experienced and offered to us all. So that's what she publicly declared, and she outward and symbolically demonstrated, is this inward transformation that's available to each and every one of us. What a gift. Let me just give God thanks for it all. Would you join me in prayer? Father, I thank you that we get to join together today. I thank you that we get to worship you through song and opening up the scriptures and prayer, but I especially thank you for Shelley's story today. A story that gave you glory, a story that just affirmed once again the life change that is available to everyone in and through your Son, Jesus. Thank you for your love. Thank you for that hope. Thank you for that gift that is available to all. And thank you for the change that has happened and continues to happen through Shelley. Thank you for her courage to take that step, the impact that it has not only had on her and her family, but I'm sure even right now, so many of us. And I thank you for a church that was even mentioned in that story, one where family ministry environments are just environments that you are using and leveraging to bring our little ones to faith. I thank you for Starting Point that's meeting people exactly where they're at in their story, whether they're starting out and starting over, and helping them take their next step in their growing relationship with you. I thank you for all the volunteers wherever they serve. I thank you for all of those that give of their time and their resources, because you use those steps to grow our faith, and you use those steps to create environments that welcome people, that give them a sense that they can belong before they believe. In these environments, you just enter them, and you do what only you can do, change hearts and minds. I pray that we would never, as a church, lose sight of the connection between those things, the story they're telling, and the glory that is due your name through your Son, Jesus. We pray these things in his name, and everyone said, amen. Amen. And thank you once again for joining us. If we haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, my name's James. I am the lead pastor here at NorthBridge, and today is a special day. We've got baptism. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's actually been a special weekend, even a special week. Last week, you guys brought in pajama donations as part of our pajama jam, so many of them, and they were gathered and they were distributed to Women's Voice Shelter, so thank you for being generous and for one of our Pittsburgh nonprofits. Yesterday, many of you were in here between the hours of 8 and 1 p.m., donating blood, partnering with Vitalent, and literally giving a gift of life to those here in the Pittsburgh area. So we thank you for that as well. And the opportunities to serve, well, they never really stop around here. And that's why we want to let you know what's on the calendar next that you can be a part of to make a difference here in the Pittsburgh area, but also globally. So if you want to track along with this stuff, it's in our app. You can pull out your phones right now. Or if you're new, if you scan a QR code on a seat around you, it's going to take you to the top 3 things going on. And there's a little button at the top where you can download the app as well. It's always the best way to stay connected. But coming up here, just in a few weeks, on Saturday, April 5th, we're having a food build. We're taking a whole bunch, like literally a truckload of raw food goods and like rice, beans, vitamin packs, that kind of stuff. And with 100 plus volunteers in this room that Saturday morning, we're going to package it into about 32,000 meals that will then be sent to Haiti to meet the needs that are ongoing there in the midst of kind of their crisis and all the violence and food shortage and everything that's happening. So we're going to do what we can do to partner with our partners there. And then not only are we doing that Saturday, but on Sunday morning, we're actually doing a food drive. We're partnering with a local organization, Hearts and Hands, that they do a whole bunch of stuff, but one of the cool things they do is they realize that there are great food needs here, not only in Cranberry Township, but Butler County, Allegheny County, kind of the Tri-County area. And so they've reached out to the public school systems, and the students that are receiving, breakfast at school, not just lunch, and they're getting nutrition that way. When they go home at break, how do we continue to help? How do we as a community meet their needs? And so this food drive is going to provide meals and snacks for those students while they're home on Easter break. And so we're gathering all of that food here coming up shortly. So it's kind of a food weekend that you can be a part of. If you haven't registered yet for the food build, please do that. Spaces are filling up. A lot of you are doing that. So thank you. And we look forward to just having a great weekend together. Right now, we're going to continue to worship through the morning's offering, ways that you can be a part of that through your generosity or on the screens behind me. There's always a drop box at the back of the room as well. And as we take some time to just give, I want to bring everybody up to speed on the series, the teaching series that we've been a part of and continuing today. It's called Deeper, Wider. And we're going to be joining one of our network churches today for that message live. Our speaker is going to be Joel Thomas. I hear that he's going to have the chalkboard back for those of you that are chalkboard fans. I'm a fan. I love the visual stuff. And so the chalkboard's going to be back today. But we've just been talking about generosity. And there is no expectation for those of you that are visiting to give or be a part of this. So I don't want this to be a tension point. We've really been talking about how amazing generosity can be in our lives and in the lives of others. It can really help us personally as followers of Jesus grow deeper in our faith. And it can have a wider impact, not only in the church, the capital C church, churches, but in the world around us while bringing us all peace, joy, and contentment. So here we go, continuing the series, Joel Thomas with Deeper and Wider.
Yeah, so good. Well, I'm thrilled to be continuing our series today. And if you don't have any idea, if you're joining us for the first time or you've just logged on, you're trying to figure out what we're all talking about, we've been in this new season. It's not just a new series, it's a new season of generosity. We've been talking about generosity. We've been talking about this Deeper, Wider initiative. And really what it's all about is we're exploring what it looks like to maximize our generosity individually and collectively so that we can have a wider impact locally and globally. We've been entrusted with a lot, like as many of you've been trusted with a lot. And we want to be great stewards of what we've been entrusted with. And if you haven't been with us, we've been taking a pretty in-depth look at the differences between cultural generosity and New Testament generosity, which they're vast. And I don't have time to recap all that content, but here's what I'll say. The content's been incredible. You should definitely go back and catch up on the content you missed. But here's why the content's incredible is because to be really honest with you, it's hard to argue with generosity, right? I mean, generosity in general is a difficult thing to argue with because who isn't for more generosity? I mean, more generosity in our world, more generosity in our lives. We would like people to be more generous towards us, not just financially, but just in life. We all need patience. We all need help. More generosity, we know this in our world, it makes our world more better, right? Like more generosity, it's just more better for all of us. And in fact, here's the thing. If not most of us, if not all of us, we want to be more generous. You wish you could be more generous. Some of you, you wish you were in a position. In fact, you've been listening to this and you've been thinking, man, I really aspire to this. This is what I want to do. So today, I just wanted to jump in. I'm jumping in the conversation, and I want to talk about what I think is the most relevant question related to generosity. Most relevant meaning the thing that most of us wrestle with the most when it comes to the idea of generosity, because as we've been opening the page of the scriptures and learning about New Testament generosity, it's clear that it's better. It's a better way to live. It's the right way to live. And if you're a Jesus follower, it's the way that we reflect God the most. But here's the question that I want to wrestle with today, because I think it's the most relevant question, is, do you even have enough? Do you have enough? Do you have enough that you can be generous? Because this is the thing most of us, we wrestle with all the time. In fact, as you've been thinking, some of you have been thinking about, you want to be a more generous person. Maybe some of you have been really considering how you can be generous towards the Deeper, Wider initiative. And here's the thing, you at the same time, alongside that, you're dealing with economic uncertainty and inflation. Over the last few years, the amount of economic uncertainty and the inflation, the cost of living, how it's gone up. I live in the same world you do. Many of us, the current obligations, you have kids, maybe you have kids in college, you have other people that you're responsible for, things you're responsible for, many assets, things you pay on a regular basis. You have a bunch of obligations, and you have, many of us, we have debt. We've made past decisions that in some cases we wish we hadn't made, that we wish we would have made different decisions. And as you consider those past decisions, and you consider your current priorities, your current obligations, your current circumstance, and as you think about what your hopes and dreams are for the future, the reality is the question you're wondering is, do I even have enough to participate in this? Do I have enough to live and to give more generously? And I think this is the primary obstacle that most of us have when it comes to being generous. Now, some of you are already nervous because we got to the board too early in the talk, but that's because we have a lot to cover today. And here's the thing, there are other obstacles. I believe that. I've heard so many, but and again, you're just gonna have to trust my heart today. I think many of them are excuses. And they're even sort of laziness. You've heard this, and maybe you've even said this. Don't be offended, because I've said these things too. You sometimes you think when it comes to giving towards an organization or towards a church, you think, is my money even gonna make a difference? Do they even need my money? I walk into this place, look at all the stuff they have. I mean, look at all the people here. Do they even need my money? And some of us, we think, we see organizations, we go, I'll bet there's a bunch of administrative fees, or the people that work there, they're making a whole bunch of money, or there's something going on there. And what's the financial accountability of these places? Here's what I would say to all that is, those are questions people ask, but good organizations, good, healthy organizations that are doing good work have answers to all of those. And the truth is if you don't believe in a certain organization because you think there's questions, find another one. Generosity is not about finding a good cause and finding a good organization. There's plenty of those out there. These are the things that trigger in us this idea of, and this worry around having enough, which is going to be traced, and we're going to unpack these three things. It's traced to three different things in my mind, and maybe you'll find others, but there are at least three things beneath this question of, do I have enough? The first one is fear. That's probably the most obvious one. Fear, appetites, and ego. Fear, appetites, and ego. These are the three things that are beneath this. And if you're wondering, there's lots of different things as you think about your current financial picture, you think about your ability to be generous, you think about all these factors. I think all of the objections, all of the questions, all the whatabouts, the what ifs can be categorized in one of these three things. And here's why. Because at the heart of fear is not having enough. Will I have enough for me? Will I have enough for tomorrow? Will I have enough for the future? I don't know if I'm going to have enough. And so I have a hard time giving because I'm afraid I'm not going to have enough. If I give too much away, now what? I can't get it back. You don't want to go back to an organization and say, hey, that money I gave you, can I get it back from you? Like, that's always an awkward thing. So beneath this fear is this question of, like, am I going to have enough? And the truth is, you know this, if you had enough, whatever that is, if you got to that place where you had enough, you'd be way more generous, wouldn't you? But what is enough? And how much is that? And how do we get to that place? Because that's connected to the second thing. We all have appetites. And there's things that we want to purchase or we want to get or we want to obtain, because an appetite is about not being happy enough. See, fear is around not having enough. Appetites is around not being happy enough. If I get this thing, if I accumulate a certain thing, I'll be happier. I think this thing will make me more satisfied. And the truth is that those appetites, they're never fully and finally satisfied. They drive us in life. And then lastly, ego. This isn't about not having enough. It's not about being happy enough. This is about being the fact that I'm not fulfilled enough. There's something I'm yet to prove. I'm trying to prove something. I'm trying to accumulate so that I can feel a certain way about myself. I can feel good enough about myself. Here's the problem, is when it comes to these obstacles, we never really get to the place where I don't know anybody who gets to the place and goes, wow, I have enough. Like that's where I'm at. And the reason is, and this is real talk today. You guys, if you've been around me much, I just like to say it the way it is. Here's the truth. If we're really honest, don't be mad at me. None of us want enough, do we? None of us want enough because we want what? Somebody say real loud for me. We want more. We always want more. We don't want enough. Who wants enough? It's like, you tell your kids, you got enough. They're like, no, I don't want enough. I want more. That's all of us. You never grow out of wanting more. And the truth is these all have relationships to these things as well. I mean, all of these obstacles have a relationship to more. And in fact, in some cases, because of fear, we feel like we need more. I need more. I need more so that I feel safe, so that I know I'm prepared for the future. And our appetites, this is an easy one. We want more. And the one we don't want to talk about that is really a reality beneath the surface for a lot of us, more of us than we're willing to admit. We think, come on, if you're honest, we think we deserve more. And maybe you do. Maybe you're here today. I'm not trying to offend you. Maybe you deserve more than you've received. But part of the reason is because that we deal with this is because anytime you feed any of the things that you need or any of the things that you want or the things you think you deserve, you actually feed this thing and it grows. This desire for more, it grows and it grows and grows. The more you have, the more you feel like you need, and the more you need or the more you want, you feel like you want more, even more than that, or the more that you deserve. And that's why these things right here, these challenges, these dynamics that we experience in our life, this is why they have so much power over us. Because here's why. Because they mess with what I feel like I need. These things, these dynamics, this idea of generosity in the midst of all the other things that are in play in our life, they mess with the things that I think I want or the things that I think I deserve. It messes with that. And when it's about what I need or what I want or what I deserve, that's a climate that's almost impossible for generosity to exist within. It almost is impossible for generosity not to just live, but to grow in that context. So what's the antidote to this? And this is the question I want to deal with today. What is enough? And how do you know when you have enough? How do you know when you get there? What's the way that you can go and not fake it, not just make it up, but just go, that's enough. And is that even possible to find that? And is it possible to resist this pull? And because most of us deal with this. I mean, I didn't have to give you the answer. You knew the answer. We want more. And we want more in life. We feel like we need more in life. We feel like we deserve more in life. And the reality is we think our peace and our fulfillment and our happiness depends on it. And in his letter to Timothy, who is leading a group of young Jesus followers, the Apostle Paul actually addresses this. And he addresses this idea of wealth in very different terms. If you have a Bible, I would love for you to join us. 1 Timothy chapter 6. It might take you a minute to find that, so it's near the back. If you don't have a Bible, by the way, I say this all the time, please let us know. I would love for you to have a Bible of your own. If you're watching online, send us a message. I want you to have a Bible, scriptures of your own, whether you bring it to church with you or not. There's such good, you're going to see today, we're going to unpack a few verses that are so rich, they're so helpful, they're so important. And I just want to make sure that everybody has one of their own. So if you want to pull it up, if you brought your Bible with you or you want to pull it up on your app, that's fine. Here's some context while I'm stalling for you to find it. The religious leaders in this day, Paul's writing specifically to Timothy because there's a dynamic that's going on. The religious leaders that were already there, specifically the Jewish religious leaders, these religious leaders were exploiting their position for financial gain. They were themselves saying, hey, we're supposed to trust God, but they were themselves trusting in financial gain, and they were trying to leverage the system and leverage their moral authority for their own financial gain, to gain wealth for themselves. And so the Apostle Paul, he kind of speaks into this idea and says, hey, look, you think these people are godly. They sort of set themselves up as the standard, but true godliness, he talks about true godliness with contentment is itself great worth. So he kind of takes a shot at them without fully, trying to insult them. He's just saying to everybody, listen, you're after this great wealth, but true godliness with contentment is of tremendous value. It's of great worth. Now, some of us look at this and we go, true godliness, and they're like, that's never going to be me. But here's the thing. This isn't about being super spiritual. This isn't about people that have everything together. True godliness, if you think about it, godliness is just representing the things of God. True godliness, so if you want to really represent the things of God, this isn't about achieving some level of spirituality. This is just simply your life reflecting God. And your life reflecting God by the way you live, and being content is of great wealth. It's of great value to you and to the world around you. Now, this word contentment right here is the word I want to focus on. It's a very unique word. It's actually this Greek word here. And this is what's surprising. This word only appears twice in the entire New Testament. This word is a unique word. It was a common cultural word in the day among the Greeks, but it was not a common biblical word. It wasn't a word that the Jewish people would have run into very much. And this word is translated contentment here. It only exists one other place, and in that spot, it's actually translated sufficiency. And it's referring to the sufficiency of God. As a matter of fact, the definition would be like the perfect condition. The perfect condition, somebody being or your life being a perfect condition where you need no aid or support at all. Like you don't have any needs. And some of you are thinking, yes, this is I can't even say the word right. Alterkai. If I got that kind of life, an alterkai life, if my life was in that sort of perfect condition, I would be more generous. I mean, if I was in a place where I didn't need or I didn't want anything, I would be way more generous. If I didn't have to deal with fear and appetite, ego, if I didn't have to deal with the constant feelings of I need more, I want more, or I deserve more, I would be more generous. But that's not what this is talking about. As a matter of fact, it's kind of the opposite of what this is talking about. If we keep reading, he says, after all, we brought nothing with us when we came into this world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave. He's basically saying, you think that the riches, you think the money that these religious leaders are trying to amass, that they're actually putting their hope and their trust in, what they're trying to get to experience real life, that's not what real life is about. And here's how you know, is because you came into this world, we all came into this world, and we leave this world with the same amount. Nothing. You came into the world with nothing, and you were an image bearer of God. He talked about true godliness with contentment is of great wealth. You were an image bearer. You were born to represent the God who created you. And so if wealth or stuff is the source of your contentment, if it's the source of your fulfillment, if it's the source of what you think it is, to be at a place where you can reflect God and his generosity, you're mistaken, because he sent you into this world with nothing. And you're going to leave it with nothing. And so is the only way you can represent the God that you were created by, the God whose image you were created in, is by stuff in this world? Of course not. And most of us know this. It's the stuff of this world is not what reflects true godliness. So he says this, if we have enough food and clothing, let us be content. Let's close in prayer. Like that's it, right? Imagine, just for a second, just go with me for a second. He's basically saying your basic needs, if your basic needs are met, you should be content. Meaning, like, it's a choice. Let us, not let us feel. It's just like, hey, if we got enough food and clothing, let us be content. Let me just ask you, I'm not going there. This isn't the application of the sermon today, but just let me ask you a question. If none of us cared about anything, having anything, or needing anything, or wanting anything beyond food and clothing, how much more generous could you be? You think about it. If your whole goal, if your only worries were about having enough food, on the table to sustain you, and enough clothing to clothe you and to clothe your family. I mean, isn't it true? We could be wildly generous. I mean, we could be extraordinarily generous. But we associate contentment with a feeling. It's not a decision. Paul says, let us choose to be content. But that's not how we think about contentment. We think about contentment in terms of how we feel. And when we don't feel content, we don't think we have enough. In fact, we don't think we have enough. Here's what we do. When we don't have enough, when we don't think we have enough, when we don't feel content, this is what we do. We worry. And worry is what ultimately keeps you and me from being generous. And we don't worry about food and clothes. You know this. We do worry about really understandable things. And again, I told you earlier, I live in the same world you do. We have understandable reasons to worry. I mean, look, I pump my gas, although just recently it's gotten a little better. I will say that. The gas prices, healthcare, the stock market, the volatility there, mortgage rates, aging vehicles, college tuition. We're headed into this realm ourselves. Here's the thing. These are the things that we worry about. These and other worries, this is what they do. They cause us to do one of two things. And some of you, this is what you'd say. You say, yeah, because of that, I need to save up all I can save up. I need to save. And others of you are like, no, I need to spend. The truth is I need to spend now before prices go up on things. And so worry leads us in one of two directions. It either leads us to save or to spend. But here's the problem. The problem is neither one of them actually resolve the obstacles, the fear and the appetite and ego that ultimately lead us towards this worry. It doesn't resolve those. And here's why. It's because no matter how much you save, what ultimately happens, some of you have experienced this, you had a big nest egg, you had a bunch of savings, and then you hit a crisis. And you hit a crisis, and the truth is no amount of money could bail you out of that crisis. No amount of money would fix that crisis. And all it did was increase your worry. And the reason is because you trusted in the savings, you trusted the money, you trusted in trying to get this place of security. And when you ran into the crisis you ran into, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to solve the problem or the crisis or the situation that you're in. In fact, it did little to nothing to resolve the worry that you were experiencing. If anything, when you realized you were powerless, it increased the worry and you went looking somewhere else to be dependent on something else to deal with that crisis or that issue in your life. And if you spend, here's what you do, is you spend and you get yourself into more debt. And the truth is you're borrowing on tomorrow because you're thinking, well, I don't know what tomorrow's gonna look like and it's cheaper than it's ever gonna be. And we get ourselves to a place where we have no margin in our lives. And we increase the stress in our lives. And what that does is that ultimately leads us to greater worry as well. And so worrying and putting our trust in money and spending and saving specifically, it just increases. It compounds the problem. It makes our worry even greater. And here's why. It's because beneath our fear and our appetites and our ego is a very real need. Beneath all of these, and this is really what I want you to think about today. I don't really want you to think about money. I don't really care. I'm just gonna be totally honest with you. It's between you and the Lord about how generous you are. That's my interest is not getting you to give some money or to figure out how to support this initiative. I mean, that's not my heart today. My heart today is to help you deal with the thing that's at the root of the real worries you have in life, because it's stealing joy from your life. And the truth is beneath the quest, or beneath the fear and the appetite and ego, is a quest. And beneath fear, there's a quest for security. And beneath our appetites, there's a quest for satisfaction. And beneath our ego, there's a quest for significance. And all of us today are in the boat where we're either on a quest to gain greater security in our lives, a quest to gain greater satisfaction in some area of our life, or we're trying to find some level, deeper level of significance in our life, and maybe a combination of the three. Maybe there's two of the three, but my bet is if you thought about it long enough, one of those three things, and you could probably rank them in order, one of those three things are at the heart. They lie beneath the thing that you actually are worried about. Our worry is driven by having enough to resolve our fear, to resolve our appetites, or to satisfy our appetites, or to resolve our ego, the need for more. And the truth is factors like this, they keep us from being content. And they lead us to this quest for more stuff, for more savings, for more spending, for more accumulation. And this is why people in that day and people today do whatever they can, just like the religious leaders. They weren't immune to this. It's why we do whatever we can do to generate more wealth, because we've embraced the fundamental belief that more money equals less worry. Come on. You wouldn't say this. You wouldn't tell your friends this. You wouldn't write this. It's not anybody's slogan, but this is how we live. We think if I could get more money, if I had more money, if I had more wealth, I'd have less worry in life. Some of you live long enough. Some of you have earned money enough wealth to know that more money does not equal less worry. In fact, more money oftentimes comes with more worry. More money comes with more stuff, more things that can break, more things to deal with, more things to be responsible for. More and more wealth comes with wondering who your friends really are. Do they want things from you, or do they really want to be friends with you? And here's the thing, this is the rat race we get in because we put our trust and our hope in money and our hope and trust in wealth, and we either save or we spend to deal with the worries that are at the bedrock, that are at the heart of the fear and the appetite and ego we have in our life. And both of these things, the spending and the saving, the accumulation, it always cycles back to worry. And actually, the Apostle Paul, he says that next. He says, look, the people who long to be rich, which by the way, we're gonna come back to this in just a minute. Most people who are, don't think they are. It's true. Most people who are rich don't think they are rich. But people who long to be rich, here's what happens. They fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. And some of you are thinking, well, make me rich and I'll see if I can plunge myself into that. I would like to try it. Like, I'll deal with the ruin and destruction if I can. But here's the thing, here's what I would tell you. You already have. Isn't it true? Isn't it true your greatest regret in life involved the foolish pursuit of one of these three things? Come on. You may be in the middle of it right now. Your greatest regret, something that you're ashamed of, the thing that's overtaking you, it's controlling your life, the secret that you're holding on to right now in your life, it involves the pursuit of either greater security, greater satisfaction in some area of your life, or greater significance. And you've allowed that thing to control you and to drive you, and no amount of money will bail you out of it. In fact, oftentimes, the more money we have, the more these problems are compounded. And the truth is they're not always money related. But we get in the habit, or we get in the mindset that more money will decrease my worries. It'll make me feel more secure. It'll make me feel more satisfied. It'll make me feel more significant. And all the while, all we really want is more. And it's never enough. And in the end, it was harmful to you. The pursuit of that thing was harmful for you. It led to ruin and destruction, not just for you, but for other people around you. It pulled all sorts of hell up into your life. And here's why. Some of you have heard this verse before, you didn't know it was in this context. That's all the context for this verse that many of us have heard. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Money is not the problem. Money is not the issue. It's our pursuit of, our need for. It's the trappings of how we try to utilize money, which is just a tool that God's given us. How we try to utilize money and wealth to try to get things that money and wealth were never intended to add to your life. It was never meant to be your security. It was never meant to be the thing that satisfied you. It was never meant to be the thing that made you feel significant. And the truth is you're trying to use it for something it wasn't intended to be used for, and that never works. As I said a moment ago, that's how we pull all sorts of hell up into our lives. Some of you are thinking at this point, the Bible is so irrelevant. It has nothing to do with my life. The truth is you know that the pursuit of some level of security or satisfaction or significance is the thing that has control over you right now. So, Paul says, Timothy, here's what I want you to do. I want you to teach those people who are rich in this world. I want you to teach all the rich people. And I'll just say this, some of us are relieved in this moment. You're thinking, okay, great, this isn't for me. I know there's a bottom line coming. It has to do with giving, has to do with money. They're not talking to me. I just want you to know, nobody thinks they're rich. As a matter of fact, several years ago, you can go look this up. JP Morgan Chase, they did a survey, and they decided to survey rich people. They started with people with a net worth of $5 million. Now, I don't know if you think that's rich or not, but they started with people with a net worth of $5 million. And they asked them if they were rich, and they said no. They said, okay, well, how much do you need to be rich? How much money do you need to have to be rich? And they said $10 million. And then they asked the people with $10 million. They said, hey, are you rich? And they all said, no, we're not rich. How much money do you need to be rich? And they said $25 million. And then they went to the people with $25 million net worth, and they said, hey, okay, do you think you're rich? And they're like, no, I'm not rich. If I had $50 million, I'd be rich. And they went to people with $50 million. You see where this is going? They went to the people with $50 million. They said, hey, are you rich? They're like, no, if I had $100 million, I'd be rich. And finally, they got to the people with $100 million in net worth. They said, are you rich? And they said, yeah, we're rich. We're really rich. So that's the quest. So until you get to $100 million, this isn't going away. Here's the thing. This is all of us. This is all of us. You don't realize it, but you're rich. Do you know, and you've heard this probably before, do you know that if you make $65,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of income earners in the world? $65,000, top 1% in the world. So teach those who are rich in this present world. Some of you are going, I'm just under that, so good. If you make $32,000 a year, you're in the top 5% of income earners in the world. What percent of income earners in the world do you have to be in order to feel rich? Truth is you'll never feel rich, but you are. And he says, this is what I want you to teach them. I want you to teach them not to be proud and not to trust in their money, which is so unreliable. I don't want them, I want you to teach them not to be proud. What does that mean? Not to feel like they can do this on their own, and to be independent, and not to act like they don't have to trust in anybody else. That's what pride does. Pride says, I don't need anybody. I don't need anything else. So teach those rich people not to be proud and not to put their trust in their money, because it's incredibly unreliable. See, at the center of these obstacles, these three obstacles that we're dealing with, the center of these obstacles is a battle for our trust. It's a battle for our dependence. You know, we grow up learning to move from dependence to independence. It's how we were all conditioned growing up. You want to learn to stand on your own 2 feet, to pay your own way, to deal with your own problems, to resolve your own issues, to be able to handle your own conflict. And physically, we grow up that way. Emotionally, we mature that way. In the world, we've been taught that that's the way we ought to live. The spiritual life is just the opposite. God's trying to get us to move from independence to dependence on him. That's why he says, teach them not to be proud and not to trust in their money. Because the truth is what you're trying to do is you're trying to save your way to security, and you're trying to spend your way to satisfaction, and you're trying to accumulate your way to significance, and you're never gonna get there. Come on. How much savings do you need to feel secure? How much? How much money? How much spending to be finally satisfied with what you have? How much expanded wealth do you need to accumulate so you feel significant, so you feel like you're something, or you made it, or you proved to your parents, or you proved to your dad, or you proved to your mom you were gonna make something of yourself? Truth is everybody's answer is the same. It's more. Even the people with 5 and 10, 25 and $50 million, it's more, because it's never enough. Apostle Paul says their trust should be in God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. He richly gives us all that we need for our enjoyment. Let me ask you a question. This is the question of the day. Is there something you need to feel more secure? Is there something that you need to feel more satisfied? Is there something that you need in your life to feel more significant? Come on, you don't have to tell anybody, just be honest with yourself for a minute. Here's the question. That's not the question. The question is, who or what are you ultimately trusting for what you need? Who are you trusting for security? Who are you trusting to feel satisfied? Who are you trusting to feel significant? See, here's the problem. Wealth becomes a substitute or takes the place of God in our lives, who's the one who ultimately provides security for us, financial and all other types of security. He's the one who ultimately wants to provide satisfaction for you in your life. He's the one that wants to define you and give you an identity so you feel significant in who he's designed you to be and what he created you for. See, how we handle our money is not just a financial decision. It's a faith decision. And the decision is, will you put your trust in riches? Or will you put your trust in the one who richly provides? Then Paul gives us the antidote. The antidote for trusting in riches. He says, look, tell the rich people, tell them to not be proud, tell them to not put their trust in money, tell them to trust in God. And then tell them this, tell them to use their money to do good. That's what they should be prioritizing. First, they should be first giving their money to do good in the world. They should be rich in good works and be generous to those in need, always being ready to share with other people. And here's what you don't know. You were made for this, actually. You were designed for this. If you were designed for generosity, seriously, biologically, it is much better for your physical health for you to be generous. And you don't know this, but if you read some of the most recent neuroscience material, you would realize there's 3 neurological effects. I'm gonna nerd out for just 1 second, and then I'm gonna get to a close in our service today. There's 3 neurological effects to giving and generosity. First one is it reduces cortisol levels. Do you know what cortisol does? Cortisol in your body, influx of cortisol, it increases stress and fear in your life. Giving and generosity decreases the cortisol levels in your body. It stimulates the increase of dopamine and oxytocin. This is your happiness and your satisfaction chemicals in your body. Giving and generosity. You can go look at the research. I've read the literature. You can go read it for yourself. It increases dopamine and oxytocin in your body. It makes you happier clinically. And it increases the activity. This was a new one for me. I just learned this. The anterior cingulate cortex. If you want to sound really smart, memorize that phrase and talk to some people about work tomorrow. There's this part of your brain that giving and generosity, this is so amazing to me. It increases activity in this part of your brain. And do you know what it actually does? It causes people to feel a greater sense of purpose and significance. It's almost like the God who designed you knew what you needed. And he said, listen, don't be proud. Don't trust in the stuff in this world. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to trust me. Because I know about the human design. Because I created you. And the question is, will you trust me as your creator who hardwired you biologically to find freedom and contentment by choosing to live generously and do more? Because if you do that, here's what'll happen. You'll by doing this, by giving, next slide, there we go. You'll do by giving generously, you'll store up treasures for a good foundation in the future, that you might experience true life. See, giving is about the long game. It's about investing. It's not just about how you're gonna feel now. It's gonna impact your life now. But you can't take any of this stuff with you to go. You know this. But the truth is you can impact the quality of your life in this life and in the life to come by choosing to live and to give generously. And ultimately, come on, it is the indicator of who or what you're hoping in or trusting in to supply everything you need to experience the security and the satisfaction and the significance, the true fulfillment in life that you desire. Our culture has taught us that money is the source of being rich. That more wealth is what it is to be rich and to have a fulfilling and satisfying life. And again, you'd say, no, money's not everything. But we live as if more money equals less worry. More money equals more life. More money equals more happiness. But the richest life, that's what the Apostle Paul's saying. The richest life is one who's lived fully devoted to God, completely at peace with his ability to provide for you, because that's what he wants to do. It's the heart of a prayer and a declaration that my pastor years ago taught me. Years ago, my pastor taught me this. He said, you need to make this prayer a part of your life. I will not put my trust in riches, but in him who richly provides. As a matter of fact, as a 20-something, in my mid-20s, trying to think about my future. I wasn't married, but stockpiling money. I didn't have any bills. I was making money. I was a single guy. I was renting a room in a house with a buddy of mine for $350 a month. I had no car payment. I had no bills. I had no rent, and I was stockpiling money. And I remember I was not only stockpiling, I was tempted in that season to want to put my hope and trust in that. And I remember when I first heard this, I thought, I need that. I wrote it down on a 3x5 card, put it in my pocket. And I carried it with me for months, everywhere I went. And I thought, this is not only good with my money, this is good in every area of my life. I'm not gonna put my trust in riches. Not for my relationships, not for my happiness, not for my fulfillment, not for success in the things that I'm doing in my career. I'm not gonna put my trust in riches, but in the one who so richly provides for me. So come on, let's close today. What's beneath your financial worry? What's the greatest obstacle to maximizing your personal generosity? What is it? Is it fear? Is it appetite? Is it ego? What are you searching for? And who are you trusting for the security and the satisfaction, the significance you're after? Who are you trusting? What are you trusting in to experience true, rich, full life in this life and the life to come? Look, you owe it to yourself to at least be honest with yourself. It's better to be honest with somebody else. And if you're in a group and you're participating in our group study, I hope you tell them. I hope you talk about this in your group. But here's the thing, one step you could take, and I'll just say this, and I say this unashamedly because I know it's good for you. One step you could take to pursue contentment by choosing, there may be lots of other steps, but one step you could take is this card. The truth is you could take a step to do all sorts of things, to trust the one who richly provides for you. But this card was created to help you take a step. Honestly, we created this as a discipleship tool. And these boxes, this is not a financial exercise. Some of you heard me say this before. This is not a financial exercise. This is a faith exercise. And I want you to go through this faith exercise even if you never turn the card in. I promise you. This exercise will benefit you. It asks 3 questions. The 3 questions are basically, how deeply am I trusting God right now in my life? How much deeper, Lord, do you want me to trust you? And am I trusting you with the things I already have, or just the things that you will give me one day? Because most of us, we're going, God, if you'll give me, this is where we started. If you'll give me more, if you'll give me enough, then I'll trust you. And that's not the way it works. Your Heavenly Father says, no, I want you to trust me. And I will so richly give you everything that you need for your enjoyment. But I want you to decide to not put your trust in riches, but in me, who will so richly provide for you. This is the difference in this process between deciding what you're gonna give, whether you give it here or not, I don't care. But deciding whether you're gonna give and what you're gonna give in terms of generosity, and discerning. See, the assignment is not, hey, how much can I afford to give? That's not the assignment. The assignment we're challenging all of you with is to discern, Lord, what does trusting you look like? What does it look like for my life to truly declare, I will not put my trust in riches, but in him who richly provides. Show me what it looks like to trust you in that way. I want to discern what you're instructing me to do. I don't want to decide this on my own. Let me pray for you. God, I pray for somebody who's here today, or one of our campuses, or one of our churches, watching online, and they're pushing back, they're struggling. That guy, he's a pastor, he wants our money. That organization, like maybe they got all the yeah buts, and what are all the other things? I just pray somehow in this moment, you'd strip that all away from them. You'd pull all that back, and they would sense your nearness. They would sense your attention on them. They would sense you in their heart saying, no, I want you to be free. I want you to truly feel secure. I want to satisfy you. You are significant. Don't be proud. Don't continue to trust in riches. I want you to trust me. I pray for somebody who is listening, who's here today. They maybe never taken that first step to trust you. Maybe today, in the context of this conversation, they go, I don't know what that looks like, but I want to take a step. And I want to put my faith and my hope and my trust in you. For the things that I've been worried about, that I've been chasing after my entire life. And I pray that would be the case. I pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. That is so, so good. And I don't know about you, but there were some dots connecting while I listened to that message. I was like, I get it now. Would have been helpful 30 years ago too, right? But God's timing is his timing, and it's never too late to put into practice. And last week, if you were here, we had cards. Our version of that card Joel talked about. And it's just meant to be a tool. And if you'd like one of those, they're out at the info table. Just stop there. Our volunteers would love to get that into your hands. But if you already have them, next Sunday, we're going to have a moment towards the end of our service. We're going to sing more. We're going to worship more through music, where you can bring those forward as a commitment between you and God. It's not any kind of financial campaign or anything. Nobody's really even going to see these things. We're gathering just for the sole purpose, these cards, to mark a moment. We're going to seal them in an envelope. If you ever want to see them again, we could probably find it. But again, it's not going on a spreadsheet. It's just an opportunity for you to come forward as an act of worship and say, God, I commit this to you. I want to take this step with you as I grow in my relationship with you, and just trust you to be my provider. And I want to live a life where I'm being a steward of all that you've given me. So when you come in next week, there's going to be cards on every seat in case you forgot one and you want to be a part of that. And with that in mind, I just want to give you a heads up. It might be the perfect Sunday next Sunday to invite somebody to come and sit with you, to just be blown away by what God's doing in your life and through this church and all that we've learned, and we're a people that apply the truth. It might be the perfect Sunday for that. It might be the less than perfect Sunday for you to invite a friend. You know your friends best, so I just want you to keep that in mind. But it's going to be a really special Sunday for us here at NorthBridge. If you are looking for other Sundays to invite to, 2 weeks from now, so next week we're closing out the series. 2 weeks from now is Student Sunday. The students are taking over everything. They're leading us in worship. 2 students are getting baptized. Stosh Williams, our student ministry director over here, is going to be giving the message. It's a can't miss Sunday. And then the Sunday after that, we're launching another series that's going to lead us up into Easter. So incredible weeks and opportunities to invite a friend to come and sit with you. If you're new here, we'd love to get to know you a little bit. One of the easiest ways for that to happen is to send us a text. Instructions on how to do that are on the screen. Or myself and volunteers are always hanging out in the lobby by the info table. Love to meet you face to face and answer any questions you might have about the church or this morning in general. Everybody, I hope you had a great Sunday. I know I did. Can't wait to wrap this series up with you next week. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day and go in peace.